Growing up in Colombia, many of the American movies I saw always looked so different. Such a different world, such a different people, things like Thanksgiving, snow days, school dances, especially the 4th of July. Something that at the time I understood as something as simple as seeing your friends, family, and a bunch of fireworks. Something that it soon became the day that meant that I had abandoned my homeland in search for a better life. It became my Independence Day. As I grew up, I never had somewhat of an American childhood. I never went to big birthday parties or any type of going out with my friends. I had to change schools at a very young age because of a completely different academic system. I lost contact with most of my childhood friends, and I had to start again in a new school, new people. It was a new opportunity. This was when I realized how difficult it was to actually make friends. And even though I did it, I surprisingly did it, and the joy didn't last for long, because only 1 year later the pandemic arrived. 2 years where I couldn't do anything. No advancements, no new friends, no new people. I had lost my opportunity to learn. And after those 2 years ended, 2 years where nothing felt the same, we became to the new normality. Now everything was so beautiful again, even though it took a little bit of time to go back into a better life. I could see my friends again, I could meet new people, and the ties were increasingly became stronger. I mean, after not seeing your friends for 2 years, a reunion can be something magical, right? And I was so happy, I finally felt alive. But the joy didn't last for long, because soon I received the news. One of my former teachers told me that life has ups and downs. In everything there must be a balance. A casual comment that will soon gain weight in my life, as I heard the notice from my parents that we had to come to this country. And now I had to choose whether to stay or to go. I knew which option was the best one. I had to prioritize my future above all my emotions. I had to prioritize my parents over the rest of my family. And I knew that leaving was the better option. Sadly, the situation in my country is not the best. Things like poor political management and inflation became a recurring topic again. Even the city where I grew up, Bogota, had an increase over the 50% in the crime rate in only the last 2 years. And I mean, we had to go. And with this, I do not mean we live badly. We never lacked food nor shelter, thankfully. But I knew which option was better. I had to choose what everyone told me was best for me. I finally experienced the fantasy to choose. Now in the US, being just a teenager is such an important moment in any person's life. I felt so sad. Everything could have been wonderful, but I never did it like that. I just kept living in the past, clinging to idealized memories, living in the shadow of nostalgia. All of that kept me living in the past. I couldn't live the future nor the present for which I had left everything behind. I couldn't do anything. Just 1 week after we arrived to the United States, we had to do a 16-hour road trip that ended up being 22 hours to arrive to Sheffield, Kentucky, where we were met by my brother, who had arrived here before us. All of this was a new opportunity for me. I was excited to get into school. My parents were trying to get a job, but both of us couldn't. My parents couldn't get a job, I couldn't get to school, and I failed the little goal that I had put on myself. I couldn't meet anyone new, couldn't make any new friends, couldn't make any new faces, and I failed. But this wasn't the time to be sad. I mean, after all, this was just the beginning of the changes. We now had to go back to FL. The same 16 hours that came 22 now became 24. And all of that just to end up living in a tent under the hot summer Florida for 2 weeks. Certainly an unforgettable experience, if you ask me. I tried to get into school, and I did it. I could meet some friends, and I could go to some classes. I finally had stepped out of my bubble. And then we had to move again. Without knowing where or who we could rely on, we had to go. My parents couldn't find a job, and it turns out that Florida is a little bit expensive to live in. We had to do another road trip, this time to Ohio. We were received by a hot meal by 2 persons that we never knew. Family or friends, basically. This was the moment where finally the luck was on our side. We were received by a one-year lease, something that we never did in any other of the states. And this time, things took a change. My parents could finally get a job, and I finally could get into school that I blindly chose. It was somewhat of a serious mistake. I had this new opportunity, and I couldn't do nothing with it. I had some more opportunities that life gave me. I tried to approach the people who tried to approach me, but I never knew how to approach them. I think that at this point, I had just given up. I turned 16 and I fell. I didn't want to try again. I fell behind my old friends. I lost all those that I once thought would be the people who I would walk with in my graduation. I fell down, and we are in a world where no matter what you do, nothing stops. And time just flew me by. We had given up, and this time, there was no other chance. That's what I thought. One day, my brother came to me and asked me if I wanted to work to be a hoster in a Mexican restaurant. It was a new opportunity for which I said yes. I was in the rock bottom, and the only thing that I could do now is go up. I finally understood what it was to have a work. I get to understand the work environment. I had so many great memories with so many great people. Many new things came under my control, things like managing my own schedule, managing my own finances. I even got promoted to be a waiter. It's something big for a 16-year-old. At that moment, I've got new friends. I finally had something to be part of. I finally felt like someone. But then, we had to move again. Or so we thought. My parents got fired. Their plans fell apart. We didn't have anywhere to go now. And once more, we had to go and move with my brother. But instead of moving a couple states, now we just have to move a couple minutes from where we used to live. You know, we still are there today. And this opened so many new doors for us. I get into a new school, so many new people, much friendlier people. I could even skip my job. This was a new opportunity. I could start all over again from scratch. But this time there was something different. This time I had finally moved on. I had finally learned. And this just gave me a path full of options. Now, with this opportunity in my hands, I changed. I decided to be a better person. It was me who could finally choose his own schedule, something that may seem so simple and silly, but it was me who chose it. It was me who could finally say things like, hey, or how are you? Because it was me who chose to change, the same person who chose to be here with all of you today. Then, all these new experiences gave way to the new me. For the first time, I went to a tutoring. For the first time, I hanged out with my friends. For the first time, I had a little bit of taste of the American life. And for the first time, I went to a homecoming dance where I met incredible people. Oh, this was such a new change for me, and is what today makes me be here for all of you. And I mean, I know all of this that I'm telling you may sound simple and silly, but isn't that what life all about? To really take care of the little details that make our life, our every day, a little bit more happy, instead of focusing on all the negative things that happened. My way of seeing life is always to see the glass half full. And I know it might not seem like it after some of the things that I said, but that's our life. It's the ups and downs we have, the same ones that teach us what to do when we fall again. And now I'm excitedly waiting to see the new options the new me has brought to the table. I'm now excited, waiting for my next Independence Day. Thank you so much.